Вот ваше общее впечатление какое? Вот если...
Отвратительно. Я сказал тезисно, потому что из-за багрового бюрократизма секретариата ООН это все бесполезно. Ну что за 3 минуты скажешь? Все отчитываются, какие великие, а стало еще хуже. Я же назвал 3 войны, которые загрязняют атмосферу. Хуситов там давят неизвестно за что. На Ближнем Востоке война, перспективы большие, втягивания еще других стран. И в Украине война, это только крупная, а их более 50 этих конфликтов. Это загрязняет прежде всего атмосферу. Я говорил об этом в Дубае. И производители, кто больше всего производит? Англосаксы, где они? Их нет. Где господин Макрон, который так пиарился на повестке этой? Парижское соглашение, где он? Его сегодня нет даже. Поэтому они наплевательски к этому относятся. Это просто говорильня очередная.
All right, guys. So Sahel coming to you with another video. So I played that clip at the beginning, and the reason why I played that clip at the beginning is just to show that even His Excellency Alexander Lukashenko makes he differentiates between Anglo Saxons and Slavic people, you know, and this is why I wanted to highlight this video of, you know, I wanted to like basically highlight this video, highlight this topic. And I guess you can say it's a light continuation of my Russophobia video. So the thing is, it's what I notice about a lot of Anglo Saxons, and I said this in the last video as well, is what a lot of Anglo Saxons will do is try to accredit something of another people to them. For example, like they will say the Greeks that, oh, you can count them along with their accomplishments, that they were that they were like somehow responsible for Greek civilization. Roman civilization is the same thing. But then when you look at history and you look at the history of America, especially, it wasn't until like it was recently that I want to say the Italians, and I believe the Irish, were incorporated into their clique, I should say. So what I'm trying to get at is, and I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, but from living in Russia for about a month now, and, you know, going through the process of getting my residency and what have you, the one thing I noticed, I just wanted to point out the differences between, you know, the Anglo and them, because, you know, obviously His Excellency Alexander Lukashenko made a difference between them. You know, he definitely made a difference between the Anglo and the Slavic person. The thing is that, you know, what I noticed is that the Slavic person is very old school. Like he, you know, respects, he respects you if you do the respectful things, such as respecting your elders, holding the door open. You know, if someone needs help, you being there, assisting that person to help them and what have you. You know, since my interactions with elders, I've made sure to have the utmost respect for the elders by, you know, shaking their hand, you know, calling them sir and what have you. You know, I made sure to do that because I just believe that, you know, in African culture, of course, we're taught to respect our elders and what have you. And the thing is the elder has been going, like the elder has been, how should I say it? The elder has I want to say been through a life experience that would garner respect. I mean, a lot of elders, even the ones walking the street, I mean, you will know that they've participated in World War II or something like that a lot of the time, you know. Um, Another thing I noticed about the 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 difference between the Anglo and the Slavic person is that usually the Slavic person is just going to be kind of, I guess you could say, more reserved in his accomplishments and things like that, and more reserved in his going on his about his daily business. Now, granted, there's some outliers, and their demeanor, the Slavic demeanor is more chill, more relaxed, and what have you. But don't get me wrong, there are some outliers. There are some, there is that exists. It'll be stupid for me to say that it doesn't exist. It exists. Um, so the other thing is that it could be the past of the Soviet Union. I don't know, but the Slavic person is kind of more self-aware than the Anglo person. The Anglo person, for example, will say things like they'll say things like immigration is a problem. They'll say things like multiculturalism is a problem. They'll say things like that, but they won't look at the root cause of what they're calling the problem, and that root cause, for example, is what they're extracting from the places in which they say that, okay, this is an issue. I mean, I don't know if these people realize this or something, but they have to choose a struggle. Either you stop extracting from the places that you say bring problems to your countries, right? This includes Britain, France, Belgium, Germany, Netherlands, in total, right? In these places, either you stop extracting and extract what you have in your own countries, right? And stop putting these corrupt leaders in power and, doing everything you can to protect these corrupt leaders. Stop with your little trickery of IMF and World Bank system, which keeps these countries from developing, which keeps these countries in the same debt slavery over and over again. And you do it on your own. You do it from your own land. You do it with what you have in that land. You do it from everything in that lens, and then maybe you'll have a solution into your problem. The thing is about the Slavic person, and I'm speaking about Russia, and especially like I have a new love for Belarus because of Lukashenko. In fact, I'm going to go visit there pretty soon. I'll probably go there in September or so. Yeah, I'll probably end up going to Belarus in September. But anyhow, for the most part, yes, there were, they've been isolated, and that's largely due to the West. The Slavic person, he kind of developed on his own kind of thing, kind of not at the expense of, other countries, really. And that's the difference, because what happens is when you're going to Western countries as an immigrant and what have you, they kind of look at you as if, you're beneath them, for the most part, because, obviously, the reason why you're quote unquote beneath them is obviously because, I want to say, because of what they're doing to your country, and you're only beneath them in the economical standpoint, perhaps because of the elements that were released in the countries that these immigrants are leaving, sometimes the moral standpoint is, sometimes we unfortunately become below them in the moral standpoint, largely due to the fact that I guess I don't know, largely due to the fact that even immigration is a business for them. They won't tell you that, but it is. Um, so another thing about the Slavic person, it's uh, they won't they won't, how should I put it? What's a good way to look at it? They don't have to try to force manhood or try to like come up with this bravado that is, that is quote unquote alpha male. Like, I mean, by default, they're just they're just built to be, men, just built to just be regular men, do things, do what a man does. They don't have to, for example, do with like that guy Wes Watson did in the United States. They don't have to, I hate to say it, but I'm just gonna say it. They don't have to do things like what Andrew Tate did. I'm just gonna be honest. They don't have to do things like what Fresh and Fit do. They don't have to do these things. And although these guys are from outside of the Anglo um, group, we can, except for Wes Watson, we can say that, obviously the Anglo mindset influences them. You know what I mean? Um, Another thing too is the the they're not in denial of things. Now, for example, I'm going to be honest, and this is just me being as transparent as possible. Russia is a big territory, okay? Russia, for Russia incorporates different groups of people, okay? It incorporates, uh, you know, Chechens, Dagestanis, English, Buryats, Bashkirs, Tatars, Nogais, Yakuts. All types of people are incorporated in Russian territory. Um, you know, long ago, this is just history, it was incorporated by conquest, and I will say that there are elements like this in pretty much every country, but there is a kind of like, I guess you can say, a nationalist element that does not like these different groups of people. I'll be sitting here telling a bold-faced lie if that wasn't the case. However, that is a small element in society. But when it comes to Western society, and the Anglo society, there is a large population of those who have anti, um, anti, I guess you can say, anti-minority sentiment. The minorities, some of the minorities here in Russia, some are more dark than others, some are light. The thing is that their vitriol is the vitriol that they have is usually based on historical context and things like that. And I get it. As a matter of fact, there's this one woman, she left Russia and she left because she was a political dissident. She went to America and what have you. I don't know her full story, but I know that she left. This is what I do know. I know that she left. And she is, like, for example, pro-Ukrainian. But I get why she's pro-Ukrainian, because she has a dissidence, with Russia, because, again, of past history, between, and the political turmoil that was taking place at the time when it came to the like, for example, the first Chechnyan War, the second Chechnyan War, when it came to those things, what I'm talking about. So the thing is too, okay, the thing is as well, what I notice here in Russia that that is too prevalent. I don't know the word prevalent. Excuse me. I apologize. I don't even know the word, but or how to pronounce it. English is not my first language, but prevalent, I guess, is how they pronounce it. But the one thing I notice, and I'm going to end on this video, because on my Instagram, sometimes I'd be filtering out comments, and I'd be looking at comments and things of that nature, and things like that. What I notice, and this will indeed be the final thought, what I notice is that there isn't a fetishization culture as there is in the West. Because what I will say about Anglos is that Anglos fetishize a lot, whether it be the men, whether it be the women. They have kind of like a fetishization thing. They have kind of this, for example, wanting to go to different countries for the simple fact to get tail. They have that in them. You understand? And even, for example, and some I guess that's their lane, and I guess they can make money from that lane. I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at them at all for doing this. But you have, some Slavic women, they have adopted the thing, winter Latinas, because, obviously it makes money, it boosts up their following. Yeah, you find that most of the comments saying that, oh, they're the best, oh, this, that, and the fourth, are coming from these Anglo guys, whether they be from, different Anglo countries. And then you find, of course, the Latin American, Mexican guys in the U.S. and those in the U.S. who, who have assimilated into the Anglo sphere. You find them saying the same thing. You find them actually having that same attitude and stuff like that, saying winter Latinas. And me, I don't fetishize or anything like that, because it's just not something a Fulani does. That's just something, it's not in our nature to do that as a Fulani. And I mean, for the most part, only Africans with colonial mindsets will do that, especially if you're colonized by British, French, the British or the French, then you're gonna, fetishize and shit like that, But it's interesting. I was speaking to a, I guess she's mixed with Siberian Belarusian. Yeah, I think she's mixed with Siberian Belarusian. She said the reason why I like you is you don't fetishize like a lot of these guys do on my Instagram page. this, that, and the fourth. And she even asked me, like, when are you flying to her locality? And I said, well, you know, I'm working on a few things. I'll worry about that. We'll come on that, you know, soon enough. But that's the one thing that I noticed, the difference between Slavic people and Anglo people. Is like they don't fetishize like that, and you know, the thing is, as a closing statement, right? I really think it's the West that wants war because of the military-industrial the military-industrial industry and what that provides and what that does to the stock market. But they paint it as, you know, oh, you know, Russia, Belarus wants war. And it's just, you know, I guess it's just one of those things where, for example, Germany just gave Ukraine and just, I believe, shipped some new weapons to Ukraine and gave them the green light to just, yeah, do whatever they want. And then also, the difference between Anglo and Slavic people is their stares are basically based out of curiosity, and some will actually come up to you and talk to you. As a matter of fact, some came up, took a picture with me as well. Whereas the Anglo stare is just basically based out of hatred. They just hate your guts, you know. And I may lose followers for this video, but I really don't care at this point, you know. Now, since I'm out of the country, I can kind of vocalize my real feelings about the country and the culture in which it has, you know, without being censored or without being canceled. But yeah, anyhow, that's all I wanted to say. So the bottom line is, you know, when it comes to Slavic people, they're my allies. They're my colleagues now. They have been grateful. They have been wonderful hosts, and I will never bite the hand that feeds me. But when it comes to the Anglo, and I mean the collective Anglo, be it Netherlands, Belgium, France, Britain, America, Canada, I'll keep them at 1,000 arms length. But anyhow, that's all I gotta say. Sahel signing out. Njadana.